Hello, cyberspace. It's me, Angie, and I welcome both you and your ears to an episode of Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel. In case you're wondering who Angie is, I'm Angie, and I'm super stoked to spend some time sharing with y'all some of my experiences and thoughts on living, loving, music, and space travel, or spiritual experiences as I often refer to as space travel. A rather broad spectrum, right? Well, my hope is to always share something that resonates with, intrigues, excites, or perhaps inspires you. On that note, I invite you to sit back, buckle up, and take a little trip out into the cosmos with me. Hello, hello, cyberspace. Hello to all my fellow Earth travelers. And welcome to episode number 21 of my podcast, Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel. Today's episode, this afternoon's episode, tonight's episode, whenever it is that you might be listening to this eventually, I happen to be recording it at 7:25 p.m. on a Saturday night, July 23rd. 7:25 p.m. Interesting that that's when I started recording because 7:25 is my birthday. Yeah, my birthday is coming up. July 25th. Holy moly. I'm going to be finishing up my 50th year. 51, all of a sudden, heading towards 52. It's crazy how this shit just happens all of a sudden. The numbers all seem to bleed together, definitely going in the higher direction. But as I mentioned to my friend Amy via a Facebook text, I think, or comment, if I am not aging in numbers or gaining numbers in age, then I'm dead. Not making light of it or being flippant about it, but I'm pretty okay with adding digits to my time here on the planet. That being said, episode 21. Today's episode is going to be sort of focused on birthday stuff. Ultimately, my focus is really going to be around music. I'm kind of calling this the music edition, and it's sort of about a bucket list item that I checked off recently related to the music world. I absolutely love music. I've talked about that a lot, hence music being in the title of my podcast. And last night, I got to check off a bucket list item. My brother and I attended a concert here in North Carolina, in Raleigh, at the Walnut Creek Music Amphitheater. I think it has a second name, maybe the Coastal Credit Union Music Park or something like that. But I like Walnut Creek. It sounds much better. We went to see Dave Matthews Band. Oh my. I have been a long time Dave Matthews Band fan. And I have to shamefully say that I have never seen them. My story kind of goes back a little bit. I am really at my core a huge Grateful Dead fan. I got to see a fair amount of shows, not a ton, and I've definitely squeezed in some Dead and Company shows since, but my love for the Grateful Dead bleeds in sort of with Dave Matthews Band, kind of in a shameful manner, because I went to see the Dead in Las Vegas. I've been doing some research on this stuff today, so it was May 19th through the 21st of 1995, just a few months before Jerry transitioned on to the next great adventure, and Dave Matthews Band actually opened up for them all 3 nights. And there is a part of me that recalls I did not go in to see Dave Matthews Band. I didn't know who they were at the time. I didn't have any interest. What a jerk I was. How small-minded to not go in for the opening band. But it's interesting because I read an article and Dave actually mentioned that, he kind of went in with the idea that, the fans were not going to be interested and they really weren't hip to opening bands for the Dead, regardless of who it was. They really just wanted their group to come out. But he said by the end of the performance, people were dancing, and how could they not be? I mean, what I know today about Dave Matthews and his crew is they are fucking rockers. They definitely get your feet moving. Their music is uplifting. They've definitely got some ballads and some pretty heartfelt, heavy stuff, but they are a band to definitely move your feet to. And last night was it was such a wonderful experience. So I'll kind of go through the deal. As you know, I am presently sort of living this after divorce life, and I'll call it a positive side, but with the divorce came the house sale, and with the house sale came a little bit of money. Now, I've been trying to be very good with it. I've invested the majority of it, which, come on, Edwards Jones and the stock market, move back up. Anyway, I have had some money set aside. It helped with my trip from Colorado to North Carolina. It's been cushioning to help me sort of move through this time period of not having a job initially. But anyway, I've been using some of it to buy concert tickets. Yeah, it's sort of been my part of the healing process for sure. I have been to some concerts earlier this year. I've mentioned the majority of them. This was an unexpected one. I'm really gonna give immediate props to, as I have before, cashortrade.org. I think that's what it is. I'll have to look it up again. But Cash or Trade, the Cash or Trade website, they are a face value concert ticket trading website, and you can find every and any concert you're looking for, and people are either looking for tickets or they are looking to trade their tickets for other tickets, or they're looking to sell their tickets. And so you can find, I would never go to any sort of resale webpage ever again and pay some sort of scalper ridiculous prices. So I was able to find 2 spectacular seats at this amphitheater. I didn't really know where the location was, but I knew it was in section 2. I think that's what it was. It said they were right in the middle, great seats, both on the end, and I jumped on them. I kind of thought I had an idea of where they were, and I really got what I feel like was a spectacular price for them. I know they were selling for retail or resale much higher. So I'm very, very, very happy with my purchase price. And I took my brother. When we got there, got inside and saw where our seats were, holy shit. We were like second row, right behind the pit. It was unexpected and spectacular. From the moment they came on stage, it was just a great, great show. It is like an outdoor amphitheater, so part of it is covered. And then there's a huge section of lawn. Actually holds 20,000 people. So when we turned around to look and see, and I believe it was sold out, to see everybody who was behind us, it was rather overwhelming. I mean, I've had good seats at shows before, but there was something about this inside area that was pretty intimate and up much closer than I expected. And kind of just jumping into the future here a little bit, it was very cool to see where the pit section was, because we have tickets next week to go see Fish, and we're in the pit, and we're definitely getting there early and hoping to get on the rail. Fingers crossed. I've been able to kind of send out 50 with Dave Matthews, and then I'll be bringing in 51 with Fish. It was so much more than I really could have hoped for. I didn't know what to expect. The people around us were great. There weren't too many chatty Cathys for the most part. The security guy was really cool. He did a great job about keeping the aisles pretty clear and yet letting those of us who were in our seats properly do some dancing around. I was pretty overwhelmed with how wonderful it was. Dave was funny. He kept saying, since I've been in North Carolina here, I've said it a lot. It's hot. It's especially this last few weeks. It feels like it's been fucking hot, man. Too hot to walk the dogs. It's either been hot or it's been raining. I haven't been to the beach in 2 weeks. I don't think it's been about 2 weeks because it's too hot. And there's also too many people. Also, as my mother would say, it's too people-y out there. But definitely hot. And Dave mentioned quite a few times how hot it was. I can't imagine those guys on stage, lights beaming down on them, dancing around, playing their instruments and doing their thing. It's amazing that they don't pass out. The whole band was spectacular. Now, I know that there have been some changes in the band. Some people were let go recently. So this particular lineup was great. Dave Matthews, of course. Carter Beaufort, if I'm saying that correct, on drums, one of the original members. Stefan Lassard, bassist. Tim Reynolds, lead guitarist, if I'm not mistaken, Rayshawn Ross, trumpeter, Jeff Coffin on sax, and it's been a little while, maybe 2018. They added a keyboardist back in. This guy's name is Buddy Strong, I think, if I got that right. He's the third keyboardist to be part of the band, and they were all spectacular. I mean, the trumpeter and the saxophone, pretty amazing. A lot of breath. As most of you know, if you're a Dave Matthews Band fan, they did used to have a violinist who is not with them anymore, violin and mandolin, I believe, not with them anymore. And it was pretty cool to see how they filled the space. They have not replaced that particular instrument. And so the space was filled with the saxophone and the trumpet and the keyboard and even the guitars and stuff at times. It was there. I'm so proud of them. I feel like I'm so all over the place kind of, but they were really impressive. And the performance was spectacular. And Dave was funny as he sort of talks about, he'll go on the cuff, off the cuff, however you say that properly, and talk about random shit. And he's talked about a dream he had and another dream and did some jibber jabber stuff. It was everything I could have hoped for and more. Really wonderful to check off the bucket list box, and giving props once again, cash or trade. That's where I got the fish tickets. So next week we have seats in the pit, and those also came. I got them, I believe, at a pretty great price. So if you are a music fan of any kind, I think you can find anybody on there. Sign up. It's free. You can upgrade to the gold member status, which has a few perks. And look for that music that you've been longing to get to. Some friends of mine back in Colorado are going to see the Chili Peppers tomorrow night, and I'm so happy for them. Another friend of mine went to see, I kind of think it was Leftover Salmon at Red Rocks recently, maybe, or String Cheese Incident. I apologize. I sometimes get them confused. And with them came Billy Strings. He joined in. I think Phil Lesh was supposed to play. But so that was a Red Rocks experience. Just get out and see some music. Make time for it. Put it up at the top of your priority list. We spend so much money on stuff that is not worth it. I danced all night. I'll also talk a little bit about the venue. I do want this to sort of be, as I've mentioned, my musical episode. So I live in Wilmington. The venue is in Raleigh. It was about 2.5 hours away, maybe 3 hours, but it's a straight shot, which is pretty cool. I think you get on Carolina Beach Road, that turns into 40, and you just stay on that until you get there. Take a right, and it's something like that. It was very easy to get to. Unless you have VIP parking, which I think allows you to get into the early parking section at 3 o'clock. Otherwise, parking does not open until 5. It's $20 extra, I think, to pay for the VIP, and then you have to pay for the other parking on top of that, of course. So keep that in mind as well. But the whole venue was, there was plenty of stuff as far as beverages. I didn't get anything there, but there was a big selection of beverages and food items and merchandise and restrooms. Water, they had a free water refill section, so you could go in and bring in a gallon of water. I think unopened, you could bring in a gallon. That's a lot. And then they had the water refilling station, so you could use that. I was impressed with the venue. That being said, getting back to the music just for a little bit, because I do want to give props to the band. It was wonderful. There was this obvious camaraderie between the band. Dave and Beauford, I think that's what they call him. I don't know if they call him Carter or Beauford. I saw it on t-shirts, but they were fist bumping, and you could see the obvious eye contact with everyone and smiling at each other. It was just a feel-good performance overall. They even brought out, I'm going to go over the set list here for a little bit just to kind of fill you in. You can easily find it online. Go to the Dave Matthews Band website. They opened with Fool in the Rain, Led Zeppelin. If you're going to do a cover, it's great. The Stone, Old Dirt Hill, bring that beat back, man. Louisiana Bayou, Again and Again. Rooftop, The Only Thing. Crush, Madman's Eyes. Gravedigger, When the World Ends. You Never Know, The Maker. So Damn Lucky, Rhyme and Reason, The Space Between, Minarets, Ants Marching. That's what they finished with. Came back with an encore. You pay for what you get. Too Much Fake. Both my brother and I heard it, and they faked us and went and closed out with Halloween. Fantastic stuff. I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. There was no pause, intermission. They played straight through. That's pretty intense. It was fucking hot, man, like I said. And they played straight through. They really came on at about 7:50, ended 10:30, 10:50, something like that. It was good stuff. I felt it was well worth every penny. They had, I'm going to go really quick to a Poddex question. I love Poddex. Got to give props to Poddex. You can join them online. Poddex Travis started this really cool deal. You can get them in hard copy also, but it's pretty much a deck of cards, and it's filled with questions. Great for podcasters. So you can ask questions if you have a moment or a lull in the conversation or you don't know what to ask. It offers some great stuff. So this particular question comes out of I think it's the red pill, blue pill. Would you rather is what they've called it. And this is, would you rather go on tour as a roadie for your favorite band or be a key part of an entourage for a band whose music you don't like? For me, that's a pretty easy one. I'm definitely going on tour as a roadie for my favorite band. I don't have any problem with being behind the scenes and doing the work and learning the ropes and all that stuff. And I have to feel like that would be the same answer for the gentleman. His name is Joe Lawler. My understanding is that he is a part of the crew and has been for a long time of Dave's crew. I don't know if he falls into the roadie category or exactly what he does, but they brought him out and he played with the band on one of the songs. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, Rhyme and Reason. And he jammed out on his guitar, fucking rocked it out like a rock star. Super impressive. You could tell he was into it. They were all into it. It must have been a pretty special deal for him. I definitely don't think it was his first time, but I gather that he would answer that question the same. Be a roadie or a crew member for one of your favorite bands. It looked like they were all pretty happy with each other doing their thing, and it just made the whole deal that much more special. I did a little backstory, which I also find interesting. So, as I mentioned, the Dave Matthews Band opened up for the Grateful Dead a long time ago. And the further connection, I'm going to keep this in mind. Maybe they'll play it again sometime. I think they've only done it once, but I guess they actually played at the Greek Theater in Berkeley a few days after Jerry transitioned. They played a version of Eyes of the World, and I can't find it. I don't know how I've never heard it before, but I just listened to it today, and you can find that on the internet. I'll include a bunch of stuff in my show notes. I guess I'm going to sort of finish out this episode. It's not going to be a super long one. I'm kind of squeezing it in. I've been trying to do one a week, and I just put an episode out on Wednesday, but I really felt a big part of this podcast thing for me is connecting to the music world and trying to maybe connect the music world to y'all as you're listening. I bring my musical adventures or my experience and share it with you. It was wonderful. Every part of it, the drive there. I'm going to throw in even a connection to, as I've mentioned many times, I am a gal on a journey of recovery and self-discovery. And there was a time that I never would have been able to drive myself to an event like this. Drive 3 hours there and 3 hours home. No way. And I wouldn't have remembered. I wouldn't have been present during the experience. That made it just that much more special. Holy crap. I'm about to be 51. I've been 50, quote, for the last year and finishing up my 51st year. Grateful for every second that's led up to this point. Yes, a bonus, and I'll call it a bonus, and I'm not being crass or callous, but out of this challenge of divorce and past life closing, doors closing, new things coming out, what a gift. This is part of that gift, to be able to have the opportunity to go to an event like this. I felt the same way when I went to Jazz Fest. Yep, went to Jazz Fest, Had an incredible experience in New Orleans. And I've just been trying to keep on a roll, doing these things that fill my soul. And this is definitely one of them. So damn lucky. I feel so damn lucky to be in the frame of mind that I'm in, that has put me in a place where I am able to find gratitude for where I am and not being stuck on how I got here or in the past of thinking how I would like things to be. Yeah, I talk about Michael Singer on here a lot as well. The Surrender Experiment. I believe that's the book that I'm listening to right now. That's all a part of it. Really changing the thinking and the thought process and allowing the old energy to pass through me and not hold me back from living this fucking incredible earthly experience that I have the opportunity to live out. We all do. Take advantage of it. If you've been thinking about a bucket list item, if you have a list, I don't actually have a written list, but I definitely have ideas in my mind. Live them out. Definitely. Make time for it. You do only get one life, and we can come up with all kinds of excuses. I'm well aware that my life is different than others. Right now, I don't have much of anything. From the material world perspective, I don't have a house anymore of my own. I don't have a husband. I don't have a regular work career. I don't have any human children of my own that I'm living with. I kind of am living with bare bones. Some of you might look at me and say, oh, you can kind of do whatever you want. But yeah, sure. It came with quite a bit of loss. And yet that being said, I'm going to take advantage of it. I wish I had done more of it while I was still married. Maybe things would have turned out different if I was living a bit more authentically, but that's past, and this is where I am now. I'm thinking that I have kind of covered all of this stuff. Walnut Creek, I'm impressed. I'd been there a very, very, very long time ago. Sat on the lawn. I did not have lawn tickets this time, and I don't have them next week, but I could envision sitting on the lawn. It was a really nice setting. The parking lot, everything, all the employees, the parking people, everyone was very friendly. It didn't take long to get out of the parking scene. Oh yeah. And before the event, my brother and I went and grabbed a juice. Actually, I apologize. We didn't grab a juice. We grabbed a smoothie. It was at a place called, I took a photo of it here. It was called Juiced. Maybe that's it. And it was actually just down the street from the venue. We had gotten there early and couldn't go in because of the parking. We had just regular premier parking tickets. So we had to wait till 5. But we went to this place called Juiced. I feel like maybe they closed at 4 o'clock as well. So we just got in. The gentleman behind the bar was fantastic. We had these 2 delicious smoothies. I think he said he could have made juice if we had wanted it to. So I feel like it was more of a smoothie bar than a juice bar. But it actually was a real cultural shop. It kind of had a barber shop in the back. It was pretty neat. But I highly suggest also going to Juiced. I'll include that in the show notes as well. I definitely feel like I've been talking fast. Yeah, I've had a few people recently ask me where I'm from. Part of me wants to say Colorado. That's where I've been for the last 27 years. But when I say further than that, but I'm from New York originally, they say I knew it. A friend of mine, she must have got my voicemail the other day, and she said, I'm not sure if you know, but you talk really fast. I do, so keep up. You got to keep up. I haven't even had any coffee today. I've been putting off, I feel like I've come to find that I have maybe, quote, pod fright. I have been thinking about doing this episode all day. I sat down earlier in front of the computer. Maybe it's because it's daytime. I don't know, but I've sat down, I got up, I did some other things. I went across the street and walked around CVS for 45 minutes. I don't know what it was. Finally got home and decided. I talked to my buddy Alex, who also he's good at just putting out episodes. I'm inspired by him. He'll put out a 10-minute episode, a 20-minute episode. His podcast is called The Builder's Journey. He does a lot of stuff. It's a pretty eclectic mix of topics that he'll cover. He's definitely covered some pretty heavy stuff. Some interviews. He interviews a lot of people. Unlike myself, who just talks on her own. one of these nights I will get my brother down here. I have just one microphone, so we'll be sharing the mic, but I'll get him down here and I'll actually have a guest. I'll expand my horizons. But in the meantime, I really appreciate you for listening. I have had quite a few days off here, and tomorrow I'm working a double at Jack Mackerel's. Got to make a little bit of money to pay for the concert tickets, I think. So I appreciate everyone out there who's listening to me. I appreciate everyone out there who has pushed the button on the download and maybe not even listened. For taking the time to check out maybe a partial episode. This podcasting thing is exciting. And once I sit down and do actually start to record into the microphone, I'm reminded how grateful I am to have this forum. I'm really excited about going to Podfest at the next one. I'm going to give a shout out to She Podcasts. It's coming up in, I could be wrong on the date. I'm sorry. I feel like maybe it's early September and it's in Washington, D.C. And I'm not going to go this year, but that was my first podcast conference in Arizona last October. She Podcasts. It's all female. It's a great place to go. No men, I will say, or anyone who identifies as a male. I would check it out. She Podcasts, if you're interested. When I went to it, I didn't have a podcast yet. I just had an idea, and I went, and I was very inspired, and it wasn't too long after that. Let's see, that was October, November, December, January, February, March. 5 months later, I started it up, and look at me now. I'm about to be 21 episodes in. Thanks for your support. Thanks for listening. I see I have a lot of different countries out there, even maybe if they've only been listening to one episode. But I will say I want to give a shout out for sure to whoever is listening to me in Belgium. I know that I feel like maybe I have 2 listeners. India, got like 31 downloads in India, 31 in Belgium. I think I have 22 in Switzerland. Maybe that's my old gal pal Sarah, whoever it is. But there's a bunch of different countries, the Russian Federation, Vietnam, Spain, Italy. There's all kinds of stuff. Maybe just one person, but it's pretty unbelievable to me to think that somehow, some way I am possibly reaching out that far into the universe, or the world, I should say, the planet. And hopefully the sound waves are finding their way out into the universe as well. And maybe somebody far, far away in another galaxy is listening to me talk about space travel. Anyway, here is to 50. It's been a fucking wild ride. When I think about where I was last year, things were dark. It was an incredibly, incredibly challenging time in my life. I was struggling. So when I think about what's taken place since then, turning 50, Alex threw me a birthday party. Alex Mintling, you're my buddy. You're stuck with me. He threw me a birthday party. He welcomed myself and my family into his home along with my friends. It was pretty wonderful. Not too long after that, I found my way into Mandy's ketamine clinic in Frisco, Colorado. That was High Country Wellness and Infusion. And that began a life-changing process in my mind. I've suggested it many times. I'm not a psychotherapist. I'm not a psychologist or a counselor or a doctor or any of that kind of stuff. And I'm not promoting, but I am putting it out there that perhaps talk to your person in the health field. If you're struggling with depression, PTSD, trauma, any of that kind of stuff, perhaps this will work for you. It's been life-changing. I then continued to work through the process of selling the house. The husband and I were officially exes, and we went our separate ways. I left Colorado. All of that in a pretty short period of time. Moved to a new state. Here I am. It's been 7 months. It's pretty amazing what happens in a short period of time. So 50, challenging, life-changing. Here's to 51. My goodness. Like I said, I guess I've pretty much finished my 51st year and we'll be heading on to 52, but I'm excited about where things are going. Life filled with all kinds of possibilities. Very grateful. I want to give a shout out to my parents for sure. I'm so grateful that they have welcomed me back into the home, a safe space. We're really enjoying each other with my brother. I feel pretty lucky and blessed that this is the family that I have. Who knows what's coming, but I feel like it's going to be good stuff. I've got the tools to handle it and the people around me to help me deal with anything. Above all, I want to enjoy it, and I look forward to enjoying it with my people. I am going to quit jabber-jawing, and thank you again for listening. Until next time, bye. So we've reached the end of today's episode. Thanks so very much for listening. It's now time to reconnect to planet Earth and all that comes with living on the blue ball. I'd love to hear your ideas for future episode topics, along with any and all positive and or constructive feedback. Please feel free to contact me at ashyisbadass@gmail.com. Thanks again for spending some time with me and allowing me to share myself with you. Until next time, please be gentle with yourselves, be kind to animals, and do all you can to allow your authentic selves to shine brightly.